Hello, hello. I am super excited to be hanging out with you guys tonight. I hope that you're ready for some super cold fun. Tonight, I decided I'm going to use another company's stamp set, and I'm going to create a card with a design that I haven't done yet. So it's going to be something completely new. I hope that you're excited. Be sure to comment hello when you get here so I know you're here. Hi, Kelly. In just a minute, I'll give you the keyword to use in order to win the card that I'm going to make tonight. So sorry, I didn't mean to cough, but it's been very cold here, so I'm feeling very much in the cold moment tonight. Which brings me to the best card to make for tonight because I'm cold. I got this new stamp set and I'm super excited about it. So I wanted to use it tonight. It is from CC Designs. It is, I don't know what they call the name of, Let It Snow. It's called Let It Snow, CCD 0401. I have an affiliate link for CC Designs, so if you decide you want to get this one, I'll post the link under this video as soon as it's over. But this is what we're going to use tonight, and we're not going to use Anna, but we are going to use Elsa and Olaf tonight for our design. I wanted to use a sentiment that said Merry Christmas, so I pulled out this really small one that I have from the Ton, and we're going to use just the little Merry Christmas right here. And you'll see why it doesn't really work out with the card for us to use one of these. I really wanted to use I Like Warm Hugs, but I want this to be a Christmas card, so I'm going to use Merry Christmas. Hey, Barbara. So for you early birds who are here, if you want to win the card that we're making tonight, you just have to comment with the word snow. So just comment snow and then your name will go in the drawing. And as soon as I'm done with the video, we will do a random drawing for the video, for the card that I make tonight. So I already stamped out. I tried to get us a little bit ahead of schedule because we're going to have a lot to do. So this is one that we're going to color, Olaf. And then this is, there's Elsa, and she's already cut out. I've already done all the little cuts that I wanted to do. Yay, Barbara! I'm going to give you all the dimensions for the card, and I'm going to give you everything that you need in order to make this card yourself. But if you'd like to have the one that I'm making, then just comment the word snow and you will be in the drawing for tonight. All of December, you can win whatever I'm creating as long as you show up to the live and you put the keyword in. So tonight, the keyword is snow. So if you want to win, type in the word snow and I'll put your name in the drawing. So we have a lot of coloring to do. It won't take us a long time, but I know a lot of people always ask about coloring white, like snowmen and such. So I'm going to show you how I will do white snowmen. And then we're going to color Elsa tonight, and we're gonna do the whole thing. We're gonna do her eye makeup, and we're gonna do her cheeks, and we're gonna do, we're gonna put some glittery stuff on her outfit so it all looks super cute and adorable and definitely like Elsa. So we'll see how I do when we get done. But I love, love, love this stamp set. Roberto Rascal is the one who draws the art for CC Designs, and he's my favorite. My favorite artist other than Hannah Lynn. She's my other favorite. But I love their stuff, so that is what we're going to work on tonight. I'm going to start with Olaf. So I have pulled out several colors. Now, because we're going to have to use Your Little Granddaughter Loves Her Everything Elsa. Oh, she would love it if you won. Make sure you comment the word snow. There is a couple of things that I have to use the colorless blender on. So we're going to have to move around as we're coloring him so that we don't end up smearing or pulling any other color in that we don't want to. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with him. I'm going to write the keyword on this piece of paper so I can keep it, reminding myself to tell you guys. This is the word that you have to type, snow, so that you can be in the drawing to win. 71 degrees, 63 the low. Better get my flannel PJs and electric blanket. I hear you, Kelly. It was 45 here in Texas today. So I have been very cold, which is why I wanted to do the snowflakes and Elsa today. I also got my first Christmas card, which was really exciting. So let me see. I'm going to have a whole bunch of markers pulled out over here, and I want to go ahead and grab what I need for Olaf. So I'm going to need 5. Let's see, do I have 5 pulled out? Well, we could probably use 6. I'm going to need 6, C6 and C4. And we're also going to need BG 000 C1 and the colorless blender. And then we're going to have to pull out stuff for the wood on the arms and the orange for the nose and then the coal colors. But we'll get to those. I want to start off with what I need the colorless blender for first. So what I'm going to do is the very first thing I'm going to do is I want to get a little bit of this C1 into the eyes. So I'm going to put it just around the outside of his eyes. And we'll blend that out with the colorless blender. That's why we're starting with that first. And then I want to do that kind of on his teeth, like around the top of his teeth. Because we don't want it to look white. We want to have a little bit of color on them. And then I'm going to go ahead and start on the outside. So I'm going to go around his head. And you'll notice I'm not going all the way to the edge. And that's because I'm going to use the colorless blender. So right around the cheek and then down the side. And then right here along the base of his neck. Then I'm going to go around the arm. I'm still leaving a space between the edge of the card and the C1 that I'm using. So I'm kind of going around the outside a little bit. I won't go all the way around, so you'll be able to see just the shadow areas, you know, the back side of everything. A little bit underneath his coal right here. And then, of course, he has a little fold here, so we want a little bit there and a little bit here. And then underneath his nose, we want to get that marked out. So it's just some lines. Hi, Beth. Just some lines on here. This is the word you need to type if you want to win this card tonight. So this gets our base coat ready for our white Olaf. Okay, so next I'm going to start working on some of the colorless blender. So this is my 0. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to push that gray that I put in his eyes back towards the line of his eyes. And this will just make it different than the white cardstock that it's sitting on right here. I just want it to be a little bit different. So for the teeth, I'm just going to kind of blend that into the empty space. And if I need to, I'll come back and put that line back in there. Hey, Mama. But for now, that's where I want to go with the colorless blender for now. Then I'm going to grab this BG 000. I like to use a little bit of a bluish color, and you could use B 000, but I just like the little bit of green added to it, so I always put the BG 000 on my snowman. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that C1 in towards his body to spread that C1 with a little bit of this BG 000. So he's going to look really blue right now, but don't worry, he won't look really blue when we're done because the colorless blender will help with that. So I'm really just extending out from where I put that C1 and starting to blend that all together. Snowmen are pretty quick because you don't have to put a lot of detail in them. You just need to get a little bit of color in there. And that's all you need. Just a little bit of color. You don't have to do a whole lot, but you could make them darker if that's what really works for you. It's up to you. Now back to the colorless blender. And what I'm going to do is the rest of him, all this blue and all the detail towards the edge, I'm going to just go over all of it with the colorless blender. This should blend and spread out that blue and the C1 to get a really smooth color all along him. It just gives him a little bit of color. And anywhere that's white, you're also going to put the colorless blender over it. Just because I don't know why, even though the colorless blender is colorless, it still seems like it tints the paper just slightly. So I like to go over the whole thing. And you'll notice that I did this white part first so that I could go over the buttons and I could go over everything I needed to, and I didn't have to worry about going into any other color. So I always try to start with that first. Now I'm going to soften just a teeny bit more right here because these are a little bit dark. And then I'm just going to let it dry, and then I will evaluate after I let it dry. So in the meantime, while I'm letting it dry, I'm going to go ahead and grab my C6. And this is very wet. It's very wet through the back. You saw that this is a cardstock I messed up on the back, but you won't be able to see that when I do it into the card. So now I'm going to work on the inside of his mouth. And I like this to be darker, quite a bit darker, because it's all in shadow. And I'm going to do just to the bottom and then just under the teeth so that they stand out just a little bit more. And that's why I did the colorless blender on the teeth first, because I didn't want it to pull any of this darker color into the mouth. So that's why I choose to do it in that order. Then I'm going to jump to C4, and I'm going to pull that dark color out a little bit, kind of blend it and pull it into this other area of his mouth. I'm going to be real careful around his teeth because I don't want to get this color into his teeth. And there we go. I just wanted to get his mouth a little bit darker than the rest of them so that it shows up a little bit better. It looks like now that the ink has dried that you can't really see this very well on his teeth. So I'm just going to really lightly touch the tip right there just to give him that little bit of a line. I think I want a little bit more shadow in here, so I'm going to grab this C5 to blend out where I had the C6, I'm going to just extend that really dark area just a tad bit more because I feel like I want it just a little bit darker. And I wasn't sure, so that's why I kind of played around with it. But I like it like that. So I'm pretty happy with that. And it's not really going to come together until we get everything else in there. So I'm going to go ahead and work on the nose next. So I have 3 colors pulled out for the nose, which is YR27, YR16, and YR15. So those are the colors I want to use for his nose. So I'm going to start off with YR27. This is going to be my shadow area where I'm going to put the darkest color. So under his orange nose, his carrot nose, up around his eyes, I want that all to be a little bit dark. And then up here, like just at the top, and then just these artist drawn lines here. So you'll be able to see the lines in the carrot when we get done. So I'm just adding those artist drawn lines in there, just like that. So that's how I'm going to start off with his nose. And there's a reason why I'm doing this card in this like layout, and we'll get to that. You'll see the reason that I did it that way here in just a little bit. So YR16 is next, and we only have 3 colors, so this one's going to go around the outside just to build our strong dark border around the edge because this is a rounded item. So I'm going to kind of brush down from that edge I put just a little bit, and then I'm going to also go up, leaving just a little bit in the center for my last color. My last color is going to be the highlight, and I chose YR15, but you could use 14 as well. They both work just as good. So I'm just going to lightly touch these areas that are white. I don't want to scratch back and forth. I don't want to blend. I just want to touch it so it stays fairly light right there in that center part. If you feel like it's slightly darker than you want it to be, you can always use the colorless blender and just lightly do a line down where the light area was, and you can build yourself that shadow back in there. So hopefully you can see that on camera, but see that just doing that colorless blender will build that color back in there. So next we have to do the brown areas. So these are shreds of wood, and so are the arms. So I've chosen E29, E25, and E23 for those areas. And I'm just going to use the E29 for the shadow, and I'm going to be really careful right here because this is a very skinny area, and this whole piece is going to go on the card, so I don't want to go outside the lines because then I'll have to figure out how to cover it up or get rid of it. So I'm going to be really cautious with around the edges on this, where normally I'm going to cut it out so it won't really matter, but not in this case. So I'm making what's really close to his body this very dark color, and then the underside of his little stick arms with this dark brown. I'm also going to do these little artist drawn lines in the dark brown as well in his hands. And we're going to do the same thing on this side, right here, right around those little stick areas and any artist drawn lines. And then that kind of gets us started. You have to smile just looking at Olaf. I know when I saw this set was coming out, I just was beyond excited. I couldn't even wait to get it. I mean, I had it like on my alarm to go out there and get it when it released. So I got 2 other sets when I got it, which I had waited on. It's not a new release, but I had waited because I knew eventually they'd come up with something I couldn't resist, and I'd order them at the same time. But this is the Hotel Transylvania group. I got them too. So I should have gotten them at Halloween time. That would have been better, but I didn't. And that's okay because I don't have to use them as Halloween. But I was feeling chilly, so I thought this would be the best one for tonight. And all this month, I'm going to do different designs on the project/card, whichever I decide to do. And you can win all month long. You can win the one that I created. So you'll have a sample if you want to make your own. And then you'll be able to watch the video to create your own. I will give you all the measurements and such soon as we get to that part. So I just kind of went mostly around the outside and kind of blended out the really dark area a little bit. And then we'll use the last color for highlight. But this whole set just makes me happy. These are for sure going to be on some of my Christmas cards without a doubt. E23 is the last color for this, so I'm going to start up here so I can try really hard not to go outside the lines. Since I'm giving this card to whoever wins it, I want it to look really nice. I don't want there to be any mistakes. So I'm just going to blend now on the hands and the arms where the sticks are. And I'm not doing a lot of blending. I'm just kind of filling in that color because I don't want to wash out those dark lines, so that we definitely have texture and dimension to those sticks. Okay, now we have to do the coal, these coal buttons. So I have C10 and C8. And I'll probably use the C6 as well, or maybe the 5, maybe the 6. I'll use 6. So I'm going to start with C10. And I'm going to go around the bottom of these coal buttons. Now, you could add more dimension to this by putting like a little fuzzy ball, or, you know, a button, or, you know, something on there to give it that dimension. But if you don't have it, then you could just color it like this. And if we have any newbies popping in, make sure you comment snow if you want to win this card. Now I'm going to go all the way around the top side of those buttons and extend on the lower side. This is with the C8. So around the top. I will put the link, my affiliate link for this, for these images after the live is over. C6 is the last color. I'm going to go from the top and blend down. It doesn't look like C6 was as light as I wanted it to be, so I'm probably going to grab like maybe the C4 and just build in a little bit more highlight. So I'm going to take that C4 and just push wherever I put that last color. And you'll be able to see how it starts building a little bit of highlight in there on those buttons. And that's because the lower the number on the black colors, the more colorless blender is in there, and it'll push the color around for you. So you can use them to your advantage if you know how they work. So it looks like in drying, the inside of his mouth dried a lot lighter than I wanted it to. So I am going to go back in one more time and kind of darken that up a little bit. So this is the C6 again. And I'm just going to go back in there and do the same thing I did before. This is the C6. It looked really dark when I put it in there at first, but now it looks like it's much, much lighter. So I'm going in with the C6. Just the same kind of process I did before. And then I think I'll take the C3 if I have it out. Nope, I have C4. So we'll use C4. I guess I didn't pull out C3. And we'll just blend into it with the C4. We just won't do a lot of it. We'll just leave it kind of pale there. And then I like that a lot better. It goes better with the buttons. So I'm pretty happy with that color. I'm going to take the C1 again, and I'm going to build just a little bit of footsteps in the snow here for him, so he doesn't look like he's standing on nothing. So we're just going to build a little bit in there. Hi, Becky. Be sure to comment snow if you want to win this image. And then I'm going to take the colorless blender and kind of wash out that line I put there just a little bit. So it's just kind of saturating the paper and moving that shadow around, because he needs a little bit of shadow so you can tell he's like jumping around and having a good old time. So for his eyes, he never had a color in his eyes. They just were black. There was no color. So I'm going to use my 0.25 multi-liner to deepen those eyes up a little bit, because I feel like that really makes him stand out. See how much that changed his eyes? So we're going to do the same thing on this one. We'll come back in with the white gel pen and build the white part again here once the black has a chance to dry. But you can tell just by looking at that how much difference that made on the eyes. And that's really important to me when I'm coloring, to make those eyes really stand out. Okay. So you can leave him like this, or you can add a little bit of like a snow around him, or snowflakes, or whatever you want to do. I'm just going to take my C1 and put just a little bit of dots around him, just to give him a little bit of design, make it look like, you know, he's kind of in snow. Because I think that makes him look fun, like he's having a really good time in his little snow area. And the key is just to make those dots all different shapes. They don't have to all be small or big. Just make them multiple sizes. And then I'm just going to touch them once with the colorless blender as well. It'll kind of spread it out a little bit and make it not look so defined as a circle. It'll look darker while it's wet, and then when it dries, it'll just lighten it up a little bit. So you can see it, but it's not real obvious. So you'll be able to see how that plays out as soon as the paper dries. Okay, I think that we can come in now that we've wasted just a little bit of time with that multi-liner. Going to use my white gel pen. If you don't have one of these, I highly recommend getting one. I don't sell them in my shop. I wish I did, but I haven't been able to get a hold of them to be able to do a wholesale for you guys. But it's a Deco-gel Milky Way pen. And yeah, Deco-gel white, and I love this thing. It is from Karin Markers, Karin. You have to buy it from their website. I haven't seen it anywhere else, but I'm telling you, it's my absolute favorite white gel pen ever. So I'm going to just touch a little bit of white in the center of those little dots that I dropped, just to give them a little bit more look of snow. This pen always is juicy. I mean, I don't have problems with it skipping or any of that stuff. That's why I like it so, so much. I'm going to do his little eyes right there. I'm going to add those little white dots back in his eyes. I'm going to add just a little bit on his nose like that. And then I'm going to add a little bit at the tops of this coal right here just to enhance those highlights. And I think that just brings him to life. And I love him. He is so much fun to color. And you can see why now, why I like to have that little bit of blue in there, because I feel like that little bit of blue just really makes it stand out on a white piece of paper. So that is our Olaf. Now, that was the easy one. We started off easy first. Now we're going to move into our more challenging. You see those dots, how they look like, kind of look like snow. Elsa. Y'all ready for Elsa? Elsa's going to be a little bit more of a challenge, but we can do it. I know we can. So she's in her beautiful dress when she sings Let It Go, Let It Go. So her dress is going to be in the turquoisey blue, but there's going to be a purple hint to it. I don't know if you noticed that in the video, but when you look at Elsa on the packaging or of the movie or some of the pictures from Disney, she definitely has a little bit of a purple hint to her dress, and she has purple makeup on. So we are going to include that purple in our girl. So I'm moving my markers around, my Olaf versus my Elsa, so that I can make sure I don't get them all mixed up. Okay, so we're gonna sing it again. If I sing it too much, they'll cut my video and tell me I can't have my video on YouTube. But yeah, one time I was at a wedding and we were at rehearsal and I was trying to entertain some of the girls that were sitting there. They were pretty young and they were trying to watch the movie. And I did all of the hand actions to the song along with the music. I didn't sing, but I did do all of the motions, and they loved it. It was really fun. So I'm pulling together right now hair color versus skin color so that I don't mess them up when I'm working on them with you. So here we go. This is going to be our skin tone colors. I feel like I'm missing one. Yeah, I am. Okay, so E000 is what we're going to do the base coat with. Then we're going to come in with RV95. And then we're going to come in with E11. And then E21. And then we're going to go R21 for her cheeks. And then E00 to finish that off. We are also then going to, there's a little bit more to her face this time. We're also going to roll right into eyeshadow, which is going to be V06, V15. It sounds a little dark, I know. V12. And then we're going to soften it with E00. So I haven't done eyeshadow on girls. Usually I don't. But I feel like it really needs it on this cute girl. So we're going to do it tonight. So this will be a new tip and trick as well. So getting started, E000 is what we're going to do the base coat. Now, there's another tip or trick that we're going to work on. And that is that the sleeves of her dress all the way here are sheer. So you should be able to see through them. So you should be able to see her skin tone through them. So we are going to, when we wet the paper, we're going to wet the whole arm, even though, yes, she has a sleeve on. So I just want you to know that it's not a mistake. I'm doing it on purpose, because I'm going to show you how to make it look see-through. So we're going to do see-through and makeup, and we have lots of cool things tonight. We're also going to give her lipstick and yeah, all the things. This part is open, so it's going to match her face. And then here is where the sleeve is. And then this is her hand that will also match her face. So whenever you do the see-through, you always want to put some skin tone underneath. So I usually start off with the lightest color to kind of build that out. I'll put a second coat just because I know I'm going to go over it with another color. Then if you look way down here, she has one little foot showing. So we are going to do this part right here. We don't want to forget that foot. I'm pretty sure I will forget it and have to go back to it, but it's okay, as long as I don't forget it completely. RV95 is going to be our shadow area. So I'm going to start that off right up here at her hairline. I'm going to go around that side, and then I'm going to go underneath that little curl, like inside that curl, and then underneath that curl. I'm also going to go right here on her ear under that wisp of hair, and then these two lines. And then this part of her hair that's over her cheek would cast some shadow on there. So I'm going to put a little bit right there as well. I don't want any on this side because I want that to look like that's where the light is really shining in. So I'm not going to put any there. Then when we come down here, her hair is casting some shadow on her neck. And she has that pretty dress, and then her arm and her shoulder. I'm building in a little bit on this side of where that sleeve starts. None of this color will go in the sleeve. It will just go on the edge where the sleeve ends and along the bottom side of her fingers. I know I'm tempted to do that, but don't do it. I'm going to go right here along where that ends, and then along the bottom side of these fingers, and then right here where the dress is casting a shadow over her foot. So that is our shadow areas. I don't want a whole lot of this darkness because Elsa is a very light-skinned girl in the movie, so I want to keep that fairly light. E11 is going to be next, and normally I push that back in, but since we didn't use a lot for this particular one, we're going to pull from that dark color out. And I'm going to do it kind of quick. I don't want to spend a lot of time on there. I don't want to lose that line of that dark line that I put in there. I want it to really stay right along that base right here. So I'm not going to rub the two colors together. I just want to keep that just the way it is. I will start to build this connection right here. And then we're going to start on this cheek. Not too much yet. We'll get the rest of it on the next go round. But we want to put a little bit in there right now. And then on her hand, we'll just start expanding from where we put that base coat. Her hands are very small, so they probably won't get a lot. So if you can't do that small a space, don't worry about it. Just use the next color to color in the hands. So down here, I'm also going to go along that front side, top side of the foot right there. And then I like to go in and just put a teeny bit along this edge of her nose, just so her nose stands out a little bit, but not so it's real obvious. I'm not a big build the nose kind of gal. You guys know that about me. So E21 is next. I'm going to dim that light just a little bit. Might be easier for you guys to see what I'm doing. Now with E21, I'm going to go over where I pulled the last color and I'm going to extend. And then I'm going to go back and just touch in between where those two colors meet so I can soften that. So I get a much smoother look out of her. I'm going to go under her eyes and down her cheek with this E21. Under this eye, because we want to do the same thing on both sides. Right there. I'm going to go a little bit on her nose. Then we're going to kind of finish up her ear because it's all hidden over here underneath stuff, so it won't get a lot of light. This part under her chin will have the darker color and the light will hit maybe about right here. And then the bottom two fingers done. I'll leave the top fingers for the next color. Same thing on this side. The bottom two fingers. Highlight will come in later. And then this is all in shadow down here, so I'm just going to finish this part off with that color. So that kind of builds us in. Now you can see that color on her arm that looks funny because we left it alone for now, but it'll come together in a little bit. Now E21 is going to be, R21 is going to be for the cheeks. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in now so I can soften it up a little bit. Now she does have very rosy cheeks, so I am putting the color in and then I'm going over it a second time to kind of deepen it up. But don't worry, we'll blend that out here in just a minute, so no worries on that. Then I'm going to use my E00, and I always work on the cheeks first while they're wet because I just put that color in there that I can soften it easily. So see how nice and smooth and pretty that little cheek looks? We're going to do the same thing on this side. Kind of building that out. I did go over her mouth with the E000, but I'm not going to go over it with the E00. I don't want to make her lips too dark just yet. I'm going to fix them with color here in a minute. I'm also not going to do too much on her eyelids because we're about to add color to that as well. Going to finish off her hands on both sides. And we're going to finish her chest area here. And then we don't have to do anything with her foot because it's already done. So you can see how this cheek kind of builds out, looking really cute with that little bit of blush on there. I really like it. As it dries, as the color dries, it'll come together a little bit more. It looks a little bit dark right now, but when it dries, it won't be quite as dark. It'll look super cute, I promise. We'll need this E00 again in a minute. We're going to start with the eyelids now. So V06 is the darkest color. And I'm going to put that between that line and her eyelashes line. So just right here. And then on this side, I'm going to do it just right here. That just kind of puts that base color in there. And then I really want to build it out. So we're going to build it way out. So V15 is next. So I'm going to work from that color up a little bit higher. I promise it's going to feel weird in the beginning and it's going to look weird, but trust me, I will bring it together. So there we go. Now we have, I'm going to round this just a little bit more. It's almost like a human putting makeup on. It's insane, but yes, we have to be careful. The next color is going to be V12. And I'm going to go all the way up to her eyebrow with V12. So again, over the other colors and then extending out all the way to the top of her eyelid. Now I'm going to soften this edge over here, so I have to be really careful with that. Notice how I didn't go all the way out with any of the dark colors, because I'm going to use this color to blend that out. Just kind of soften that edge a little bit so it doesn't look like a straight line. And then what we're going to do now in order to soften all of that up is to come back with our E00. And that's when we're going to work on this, the transition between skin tone and the eye color. And we're going to do that on both sides. That way it looks like it matches her skin tone and looks really nice together. So see how that blends out and it still gives you that like soft look? That's my goal. So if I hold her up, you can see really clearly that it's dark on her lower eyelid and lighter as it goes up. Now it all looks very dark right now, but as we continue to color, it's going to look a lot better because the outfit will lighten everything up. So let's keep going. Let's do hair next. So Elsa has really light colored hair, almost like a white-ish gray, yellow, white. I don't know. It's hard to explain. While I'm trying to explain that, I'm going to just put in a little bit of lipstick on her with RV95 because they did leave a little bit of space on her lips for color. So this is the same color I used for the shadow area. And all it's really doing is just deepening those lips, but it's the same color that we put on the rest of her. Did I get that a little bit? I can't tell if I got that a little bit off right here, so I'm going to use my little tweezers to see if that's a line or something I colored. A fuzzy or something I colored. Nope, it looks fine. Okay. Now, a mistake some people make at this point is like outlining the lips with, you know, your little multi-liner. Don't do that because it's too small. When you do that, you're going to mess it up and then you'll be really unhappy. So I think it's good just the way it is. Now for her hair, I have several colors here. We won't be using a lot of any of them, but I really feel like I need all of those colors in there. So I'm starting with E44. I'm going to go into E43. I know this sounds dark. I might touch a little bit with E42. And then I'm going to use some Y000. And I'm going to use some E50. And I might use E51 as well. I have E51 out here as well. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which normally I don't need 6 colors for hair, but you know, it is Elsa and she's special. So if you popped in, make sure that you type the word snow if you want to win this girl. If you popped out, I'm sorry, you're going to miss the card, which is super sad. I'm using this E44 just to go in and draw some of the lines to show the roots and the darkness in the root area of her hair. I'm not going to make her hair this dark for sure. So I'm using some of the artist drawn lines to emphasize that darkness in those areas, because her hair, if you look at it closely, I know most of the time you just see the blonde, but if you look at it closely, there's absolutely some darkness in her hair where the shadows are. So I'm just drawing over some of those lines and putting some of that depth in here. I'm going to put just a little bit on this towards the back side of it. And then this is like her braid. Remember, her hair was braided. The braid's not real clear on how it goes down on the dress, but I'm going to clear that up for me. However, I'm going to color it right now. So I'm going to go along the bottom edge where I want it to be hair. And then I'll do a few in the center. So I like to have some darkness within my braid. And then over here, you can't see this ear. So this is all hair. So I'm going to go ahead and put some of this deep dark color in that hair. I want to keep this part of her hair pretty light. So I'm going to put most of the shadow behind this little tuft of hair right here. So that kind of gets me a little bit of that base dark color in there. I really don't want her hair to be dark, so I'm not going to put a whole lot. Plus E43 is also going to be dark, so I want to just enhance those lines a little bit by extending them, maybe moving along some of the edges to kind of build in that hairline. And then I'm going to go this side. I'm going over some of those lines that I did in the darkest color so I can soften them just a tad. This is definitely an advanced type of hair coloring, so you definitely have to practice. Don't be frustrated if you can't do it the first time. This was one of the harder ones for me to do just because you're building in so much color. I mean, you should normally be able to do hair in just, you know, as little as 2 or 3 colors. But this one's going to have a lot more than that. And that's because I'm trying to, in my mind, match up with an image I've seen. And that is a little bit more challenging. So there is level 2 of her blonde hair. It looks like it's going to be a little dark right now, but it's going to be pretty cool. So I'm going to put some of this E42 in there. Not much. I'm just going to go around the back for wherever I hadn't put any color yet, so that I can make sure to keep her looking like her head is rounded. So I'm using this color to kind of enhance those. Extend if I've already put the color, add the color if I haven't put any color there. Still kind of leaving this little front piece alone. I want it to be brighter than the rest. So I haven't really done a whole lot with that one yet. Kind of extending out those other colors. So that kind of gets me where I want to be. Thank you. I'm so glad you like it, Cheryl. So that gets me kind of where I want to be before I start working on the highlights, which I have 3 colors for. So I'm going to start with E51. It's a little bit darker than what I really wanted her hair, you know, I would really want her hair to be. So that's where I'm going to focus on extending only where I put those darkest colors, so I can blend with those darkest colors and this lighter one, so I get kind of a smoother transition, if you know what I mean. And you will if you're coloring along with me, or if you've colored her before. And I'm not adding it everywhere, I'm just adding it a little bit more focused on the biggest part of her hair. But I just wanted a little bit in there to kind of soften the white that was on there before I put the yellow, which is next. That's the Y000. You could use 00 if you want her hair to be really yellow, but I felt like her hair is more of a white-ish blonde than a yellow blonde, so I'm using the Y000, and I'm only going to touch where the white areas are for right now. This is kind of bringing out that like highlight. And I'll blend this yellow with that tan color using a different marker. So really just building in that really light. And this is where I'm going to use it for that front piece. So kind of building my highlights as yellow. You could do it without the yellow, but I feel like the yellow just really makes it pop the way that you want it to. So it's a little bit yellowy. When you get done, you're like, oh, that's a little more yellowy than I wanted, right? So I'm going to use the E50 to soften that up. So when I do the E50, I'm going to do the E50 with the side of my marker over the whole thing in one wipe. I'm not going to go over it more than once, just putting a coat to bring this color a little bit back blonde, not yellow. You should be able to see that happening as I'm doing it, that it looks more blonde than yellow when I do this. But it's not a blending. Like, I'm not going back and forth and rubbing it out. I'm just adding one layer of this color on it to keep that hair blonde. And then you have this blonde hair, which I think is pretty close to nailing her blonde hair. And I'm happy with that color. Since I'm going to have to do a little bit of touch up with her eyes, I'm going to do her eyes now so they'll have time to dry while I'm working on her dress. So I'm going to start with BG78 for her eye color because it's still going to be part blue, but it's going to match that dress. It's also slightly different, so you see just a little bit different look on her eyes. Don't stress if you cover that white dot. We're going to fill it in later with a white gel pen anyway, so I don't really stress about that. I'm going to use BG75. Oh, yay, you like her so far. Isn't she pretty? BG75, I'm going to go down a little bit lower, but I'm going to try to focus on staying a little bit more on the edge of her eye rather than that inside part. This is a little bit hard to do because her eyes are so tiny. We're going to grab this time I'm going to go with the G000 and see if it's dark enough to do the blending that we like. And I'm just going to do this in like a C motion. Like I'm going to just do C over and over again. Kind of lighten up and smooth together those colors. And kind of just barely hint that bottom part of her eye with this G000 so that her eyes really stand out. Now I overwashed a little bit, so I'm going to go back in with the BG75 and just darken this top part up just a little bit more because I feel like it just looks better if it's darker up there and lighter at the bottom. And then I'll just touch with the E000 right at the edge so that it's soft and doesn't look like it just abruptly goes from dark to light. Now, it doesn't really show how gorgeous it's going to be until we put the black in her eyes. So we're going to do that now because we'll put the white gel pen in after we're done with the dress. I'm going to go around that black pupil area and kind of color that in. And I'm sorry if I'm a little off. I had an accident today and I hit my eye, and so it's a little my right eye is a little bit blurry tonight, so it's causing me a little bit of a dilemma in the coloring, but I think we're doing okay. So this is why I add the black. I mean, it just really makes those eyes pop well. And because I have the eye mascara, whatever on there, I'm going to add just a thin line above the top. I'm not going to do the bottom, but I do want to do the eyelashes. So it kind of looks like she's got just a little bit of mascara on her eyes. And I'm going to do that on this side as well. You can't really see those little flicks quite as much over here, but there should be a couple of them right here, so I'm just going to make them myself. Hello, hello. Yeah, you got to be careful with her eyes. You got to be real careful with eyes. We'll put the white gel pen in there in just a little bit. I'm not going to mess with that right now. I'm going to move on to her dress. Now, this is going to be interesting. Her dress will remain that like turquoisey blue, and the rest of it will be that bluish purple. So I hesitate to use this BG07 just because it's so dark. And by the way, Beth, I think you just joined, so you have to type this word if you want to be in the drawing to win this card. I'm only going to use this for the trimming of her dress. So around these areas right here. You have to touch really lightly because they are very tiny areas. And then I also want to put it along her waist right here. And then I'm going to put it along the bottom of her shoe. Just like that. So not a whole lot of this color. I don't want to make it too dark. And then we're going to come in with BG05. We're going to use BG02, 01, BG000, and BV000. So that's a lot of markers. So BG05 first, and this is where I'm gonna start going kind of around the edges. Don't do anything with the wrists yet, with the sleeves, because they're see-through and we want to keep them see-through. So I'm just adding some of the lines that are in this top portion of her dress, and then I'm going to do some that go down on the artist lines here, but I'm also going to build like a little bit of a wall up there by the waistline. Want to keep her kind of skinny. Coming down these areas. I'm going to go ahead and do the one on the edge so I don't forget where I'm at and color too far. And then down here, I'm going to go up that line. I go here. I'm going to go here where it's tucked under. And then along here. And this one. I'm going to leave this one alone for right now. And then on this side of this one, this side, this little area right here that's kind of tucked away, I'm just going to make all that dark. And then along the base right here. And then this underside of her dress, it's always darker than the rest of the dress because it is completely shadowed. So I'm just going to color all of that in this color. And that kind of starts to build out her dress. I'm not going to do anything in this outside part yet because it's more sheer and light, so I don't really want to put any of the darker colors in it yet. So this is BG02, and I'm going to keep going. None on her sleeves or this outside part yet. We're still working on just this little dress. So I'm going to come down from the top and up from the bottom, just starting to build that in. I'm going to extend a little bit from where I put this original color, making these lines a little bit longer. Kind of start building that in a little bit, extending a little bit from where I put that last color. I'm going to make sure all the bottom of this has some color on it. Up from these. Then I'm going to go over here and build that all the way up. And right along the edge of that part of the dress. So next we have BG01. And this is when we're going to start using it on the sheer pieces as well. So I want this part to stay darker than the rest of her dress. So this will finish up the bodice part of her dress. And then I'm going to go along the bottom here, holding an extremely light touch. And up in the center, go along the bottom of this one, around her wrist, and then right there in the center. And then I'm going to extend on these areas right here, kind of build that dress down a little bit more. I'm also going to go up a little bit from the bottom. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do all of the lines in the outside part of her dress. I want to start building the shadows that are in that part of the dress. So the little cape or whatever you want to call it. Just along those edges. Just all the way. So you can see it's all the edges, none of the inside is colored on that. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Right there. Okay. So now I'm ready for the next color. So the next color I'm going to use twice. I'm going to use it now when I do the dress. So blending this whole dress together now. This very light color. I'm using more of the side of the marker, a little bit heavier hand so I get more ink on the paper. Kind of blend that out. And then on her sleeves, I'm going to just go up from where I put that darkest color and then down from the top. Just one clean swipe on there, up from the bottom and then down from the top. And that leaves her arms looking like there's a little bit of blue on them, but you can also see skin tone through it. For this bottom part right here, I'm just gonna do at the bottom of this part of the cape, if you will, and then a little bit from right here, and then we're going to switch to the purple marker and we'll come back to this one in a minute. I'm not going to do any of the purple on the dress. I just want it to show on the cape-ish area, if you will. I don't even know what you call that, but I'm going to put a little bit up here. It'll be a little hard to see until I really get going. And then I'm going to put this inside. I think I used a lighter color than what I meant to, but that's okay. I think it's going to be pretty. I think I meant to use the 00 instead of the 000, so you could try it either way, whatever works best for you. Down from the top, I'm going to darken that just a little bit. And then I really want it a little bit darker right along the bottom. So I'm going to go over for a second spin on this part down here. So you can kind of see the purple building in a little bit, and the eyes really make that come out. And then I'm going to go and blend those colors together with BG00. So I'm just going to try to start where I stopped with the purple, just to fill that out and soften it up. And same thing here, kind of in that middle section. Now I'm going to grab one more marker again, which is the E000 that we put on her skin, and I'm just going to go over this skin part one more time. so that you can see the skin tone underneath there, just like that. Now, we are definitely not done, but we have purple in our dress. I kind of want it to be a little bit more purple. It's sort of driving me crazy that it's not. So let's grab the V12 and let's add a little bit more at the end. You know how I am. I love my purple. I can't help it. And I'm just going to add some over like the artist drawn lines, just to add a little bit more purple in there. There we go. That is better. Now I'm going to blend that out with my BV000 like I did earlier, and that's going to soften and give me that purple I was looking for. There we go. That is more like it. Now, just to make sure they blend together, going back in with the BG000 one more time. Just to get that blended out, softened up, and looking nice. All right, now we all know that she has sparkly on her, so we are going to sparkle her. But before we do that, we need to add just a bit into this snowflake. I mean, I don't really know what color you would color a snowflake, so honestly, I'm just going to put a base coat of this and we'll make it sparkle. So this is BG000, and I'm just adding a base coat right on into that snowflake, just so it has a little bit of that BG color in it. All right, now it's time for the fun stuff. I have my white gel pen so we can do her eyes, so you'll be able to see her eyes a lot better. So we're going to put that white in her eyes. Woohoo! Now, I have this pen. This one is the Jelly Roll. I think it's Stardust. It doesn't have a name on here. It just says Jelly Roll. But I think it's the Stardust. It's the one where no matter what color you put down, when you put this marker over it, it turns that color to sparkle. So you'll be able to see it on the end. See how it just sparkles even though you can still see the color? We're going to use that pen to fancy up this cape-ish part of her dress. So what I'm going to do is go along the body and wherever the artist lines are. So all the way along the body. And then I'm going to go over all of the lines that are part of this cape design. I'm not going to color it in. I don't want to color it in. I just want to get that sparkle in there. This pen works pretty good, but sometimes it kind of skips, so I have to look from the side view to make sure it's coloring that in the way that I want it to. So when I get ready to show you, I'll be tipping it sideways so you can see it. So there is this side. It looks like I'm doing nothing, but I promise it's doing something. It's hard to see on camera. But just bear with me for a minute and I'll have it done so you can see it. When you see it in person, it stands out a lot, but on camera it just doesn't show as well. So if you happen to win this card, you'll see the sparkle when it gets there. Okay. I'm not going to put the sparkle on her sleeves, just on this part. And then I am going to put it in the snowflakes. So I'm going to add it to these little triangles. First. And then I'm going to go over these stripes that are on here. and they go across from each other, so I'm just building that in. Just for the sparkle. Now, when I hold it up, you can see how it kind of made it a little gray on the snowflake, but when I tilt her, hold on, let me tilt her. So can you see the sparkle on her dress? You can see it sparkle, and her snowflake too. It all kind of sparkle. Oh, there we go. There's a good look at it. Look at that. You see that sparkle? It's on the snowflake and her dress. So I really, really like that. And I think it's the perfect step to this. Now, we could do it to her eyes, it's eyeshadow and stuff, but I just don't want to give it too much. I like it the way it is. So I think I'm going to stick with that for now. I have some teeny tiny little stones if I can find them. They should be in this drawer. And I'm going to put one in her ear if I can find them. But if I can't, I'm just going to skip it. Teeny, 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 tiny. See how teeny tiny these are? And clearly I don't use them that much because there's only like a few of them gone. But they're stuck together, and I just cut one off when I want it. And then I'm going to add it to her ear just because I don't know, I like to add earrings to my girls when they're all glammed up. So I'm just going to add this like right here. I'm going to move it up just a little so it's kind of in the right place. So she has a little earring in her ear. Let me get it in the right spot. And then once I do, I'm going to use my soda press to like press that in there. Then I'm going to add one to the center of the snowflake. So another one of those tiny ones. I don't use these for much else. I don't use them to decorate my cards. I just use them for jewelry. I have used them as a circle around the line and made it, you know, fancy for the dress or a necklace for the girl. But I only use these for that purpose because they're so tiny. You love the sparkle? This pen is amazing for that, but if you color the whole thing in, it messes it up, so I don't use it for all of that. Okay, so now we're excited. We have our beautiful little Elsa, and we have her little Olaf here, so that might help you be able to see it just a little bit better when it's sitting on a white background. You can see the sparkle. And, okay, so there they are together. So we're going to set those aside because it's time to make our card. Aren't they adorable? I am so happy with them. So I'm going to zoom out even more because I'm going to need a lot of space to put my card together. I'm going to move all the markers to one side because I can't put them away because I put them under every video that I do so you know what colors I used. I already have the pieces cut, so you don't have to sit there and watch me cut them. This is all we need to build our card. It's not very much. It's one sheet like this. I have not scored it yet. We'll score together. 2 solid colors. We need several of the pattern colors, and I changed the patterns up a little bit. And I'll give you these dimensions in just a minute. Then we're going to have this whirly wind type pattern. And then I have a solid pattern here. And then I found this says Ice Kissed from this paper pad, had some little stickers, and I thought this Ice Kissed was really cute. So we're going to use that. So right now, if you are wanting to build this, these are the dimensions you are going to need. You are going to need solid, I did mine in white. you're going to need one that's 5 3/4 by 3 and one that's 10 1/2 by 4 1/4. That's these two pieces right here. These my two white pieces. So you need those. So if you want to take a picture of this, you'll need to take a snap of that so you can see. The pattern cuts are 4 by 3 1/4 and then 4 by 1 3/4, and you need 2 of those, and then 4 by 1/2, and then 3 3/4 by 2 3/4, 3 1/2 by 2 1/2, and 2 3/4 by 1. And I'll tell you which one each one is as we put them on there. If you want to decorate the back, you'll need these patterns. I did mine in white. So 5 1/4 by 4 in pattern paper, and then in white I did 5 by 3 3/4, so the white is matted with the pattern paper. So those are the measurements that we need for the base now, and the base and the pattern papers, which we already went over. So now we're going to score these, and we're going to score them together because I feel like scoring is sometimes challenging. So if you took a snap of that front side, you want to take a snap of this back side. This is how you score it. So here it is. The solid 10 1/2 by 4 1/4, which is this one, 10 1/2 by 4 1/4. I have it on here where it says on the long side. This is the long side of this piece of paper. Lay it up there with the long side there. And then we're going to score it at 1/2, 1 3/4, 3 3/4, and 5. That's all we have to do. So I'm going to, oh, it doesn't like, I forgot it doesn't like my scoreboard. So we're going to do these exact measurements. So 1/2 inch. And then 1 3/4, and then 3 3/4, and then 5. And that's it. All the score lines on this side. I used 110-pound paper, so I'm just going to score them one more time, just to make sure I got a really good fold going on there. And then we're going to take the other piece of paper, which is the 5 3/4 by 3, and on the long side again, the long side, this is the short side, this is the long side. On the long side, we're going to score it 1/2 and 1 3/4. Stop. We're going to score it at 1/2 and 1 3/4. And we only need those 2 score lines, so I'm going to go over them one more time just to make sure I got them scored like really good, because it's 110-pound paper. And then that's all the scoring you have to do. This is a super easy created card, but it's going to be really cool when it's done. I'm very excited about it. So now we're going to burnish on these score lines. So I'm going to start here. I'm just going to use my Trinity Stamps bone folder for this, so I get a really good line. I start with the first one folding up, then I'm going to fold the next one up, all up. Then I'm going to fold the next one up, and they all go up. And then I'm going to take this one and fold it up. So all of them going the same way. Just kind of this one, this one, this one, this one, all folding the same way. Now I'm going to take this one and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to fold this one up. And I'm going to lay it down and I'm going to fold this one up. Again, all folding up. This will be on the YouTube channel, so you can watch it made over and over again if you get lost. Okay. This one's going to go like this, and this one's going to go like this. So I just have them sitting there for now because we need to add paper. It's always easier to add the paper before you stick this stuff together. So on these measurements that we went over, this 4 by 3 1/4, that is this one. So 4 across by 3 1/4 this way. We're going to attach it up here at the top of our card. I'm going to leave a little bit of a border around the edge. Like that bone folder walked away. There it is. So I'm going to put glue on the back of this. Ooh, I wonder who's going to win. If you want to win, you got to make sure that you commented snow. You only have to do it once, but as long as you do it, you'll be entered in the drawing. So just place that with a small little border around the edge. I'm just eyeballing it. I don't need it to be perfect. But if you did, I have these really cool tools from Pear Blossom Press. This is called the A7 measurement, but basically what you can do is if you want it to be an 1/8 inch or a 1/4 inch, like if you want it to be a 1/4 inch, you just put this on the paper and then you place the paper. So like you just glue the paper right there, and it's exactly a 1/4 inch from every side, which is pretty cool. I think I kind of eyeball more at an 1/8 inch. So you would put, yeah, see, I eyeballed that right at an 1/8 inch. So I don't really use them that much anymore, but they're pretty cool if you need them. There's a small one that says A2, which is 1/2 inch or 3/8 inch. And then there's one that says A7, that's 1/4 inch or an 1/8 inch. And you get these at Pear Blossom Press. They're pretty awesome, but I eyeball a lot more than I measure. But if you're not good at that, that's how you can make sure that you get better at it, I guess. So next, what we're going to do is I'm going to fold this up, okay? And we're going to want to put paper in this section. So I'll just fold that down so I don't get confused. I want paper right here on this section right here. And this is going to be the 4 by 1 3/4. So it's going to be this one, 4 inches across by 1 3/4 up and down. And I'm just going to go ahead and add that right now. It's going to go right here with the same kind of border around it, about an 1/8 inch. The way that I cut them, it's usually an 1/8 inch because that's the kind of border I like to have. So that's how I build mine. This one is off just a little bit. I need to pick it up faster. My Barely Art glue is going to dry. As I'm off just a little bit, I want to fix that. Oh yeah, I'm tearing the paper a little bit. So I guess it might have to stay. Let's see if we can get it up. And then we'll put the paper back down, the glue back down. No one will ever know the difference. And we can fix this so it's eyeballed at the right amount. Don't worry, most of that's going to get covered up anyway, so you're not going to see it. But let's get that back down. There we go. So don't be afraid. You can't even tell. There we go. Okay, so now we have that piece on there. Those are the only papers right now that go on this piece right here. So I'm going to set that aside. On this one, we need a piece that's going to go right here. So it's going to be, it's not that one. I think that might have been an extra piece. It's this one. 3 3/4 by 2 3/4, and we're going to place that one on top of here. So I like all that little windy blow in there. I think that looks like Elsa. So this is going to go right here. There we go. And then we need one that's up here. So this one is going to be 2 3/4 going this way by 1 inch. This is 1 inch, 2 3/4. And this one's going to go right here at the top. So I use different pattern papers. You can use all the same if you wanted, but I wanted to give them a little bit different design. So I put these together. So this one will go here. It kind of matches the one below, so I like it. So there's that one. And then the next one that we're going to do, we have 3 pieces of paper left. We have this one, and this one. Oops, I want to use this side. But we're going to assemble before we put them on. Okay? So the first thing you're going to do is open this paper up so you can see one of the papers here, the other one's underneath. You can't see it. So if you see them both on the same side, you got it on the wrong side. We're going to fold this little flap over right here, and we're going to add glue on it. Just like this. Okay. And we're going to pick that up. We're going to fold this one down. Okay, so you see your regular panel here. We only put glue on this small tab, and then you're going to lay it flat like this. Okay? So you only put glue on that little flap. Don't put it on the other part, otherwise your card won't open. Once that adheres, you now have this box right here. See? But I didn't have to line it up to get it perfectly on there, because if you fold it over, lay it flat, and press it down, it's lined up perfectly for you. So you don't have to focus on trying to line something up. Now, this extra piece of paper that we have, this is optional. This is the what is this one? I can't remember now. This is the 4 by 1 3/4. I said we needed 2. One of them we put here, the other one we put here. And this is optional for you. If you want to cover up that seam right there, you can put this paper in there. So the one that says cut these ×2, if you don't want to put this one in there, then you only need 1. But I like to cover up the seam here, so I just cut 2 of them and then stick this inside. I just put the glue on, and I'm really eyeballing it, but I'm lining it up with this one. And as long as you're close, you have that paper in there, you're good enough. And then I just close it up again and burnish that, and it'll stay wherever you put it. See? So that's if you want to decorate that inside. You don't have to, but you can. Now we have to work on this piece right here. Okay? So the way this is going to go is we're going to do the same thing by adding glue to just this little piece right here. It's the same thing as the bottom one. Only this time, we're also going to add glue down here. And we're only going to add it for about maybe 3/4 of an inch to an inch. Just that bottom section right there. So for me, it was only about as wide as one of those small papers. Don't go all the way up, because we're going to place this over top of this, and you do not want the glue any further. We're going to put it on there like that. So if you want to set it there, you can put the glue up as high as you want it to be, like this. but just saying. Then you fold this down, okay? So both your glues are face up. You flip this over and you apply it so that this top doesn't go past the top here. As long as you have this lined up, you are good. Press that down. Press that down. This is an A2 size card right here. So when we pop this up, it's still going to fit in an A2 size card envelope. So that's how you put it together with all these little shelves and stuff easily, so you don't have any problems with it. Now, for me, I wanted to decorate the back, so that is why we did Olaf, and I will show you that in a few minutes. We still have 2 pieces of paper left. One is this little tiny strip, which we cut to put along here. This is the 4x1/2 inch, okay? And it's just for a little trim at the top. I did it in a solid blue, so it matched, but still you could see it. You can put whichever side you want to see, whichever side you want visual, you can pick to put on there. It's up to you. It's your design. It's up to you. So this is going to go on here. And this is where I'm going to put that little ice kissed right there, because I thought it was really cute and it would be perfect for this particular card. Now I could pop it up, but if I pop it up, then that's going to probably affect the shipping of the card. Won't lay as flat as A2 anymore. So that's up to you and whether you're going to be handing it off or mailing it. I'm going to put that ice kissed right along there. It matches absolutely perfect with that paper, which I'm super excited about. But don't worry, we will bling it up. Okay, now on the front, this is where we're going to put our Elsa, okay? But I want to put her on this piece of paper. So when I designed this card, I designed this card for this piece of paper to go like matted on the front. But I really want to see more of this wind paper, because she looks like she has a snowflake floating around and stuff. So what I'm going to do is attach my Elsa and then trim the paper off. So I'm going to go ahead and put her on my card. Again, you can pop her up if you want, whatever you want to do. I'm going to place her closest to the top, and then I'll trim the bottom. Just because if I cut it wrong, I would rather cut it wrong at the bottom of her feet than to cut it wrong at the top. And so I'm going to place her on there just like this. I'll flip her over, rub it. And I'm going to grab my trimmer and I'm just going to trim the bottom of this off. And that was just a last minute decision. Look, it ends up being 3 inches instead of 4 inches. So that's perfect for me. That makes me happy. You can do all kinds of additional designs at this point. You can round the edges. You can pretty much do whatever you want. I did notice that I missed finishing off her shoe. So I'm going to grab this BG02 because it's close to me. And I'm just going to get that colored in because I don't want to leave that uncolored. And then I'm going to take her, and this time if I put her on here, I think she looks so much cuter on there now because you can see more of the windy paper. So I'm not going to attach her yet. I want to do the back first. So you flip it over like this. This is your back side. And I almost put him on there going in this direction. But if you didn't know, you can mail these in a clear envelope, and that's what I'm intending to do with this one. So what I'm going to do is put my return address here and the person it goes to here, and then I'll put the stamp on the plastic envelope, which I'll show you in a minute, which is why I have this extra border, because I wanted to mat this on here like that and then put it on the back. Now you could use the back to just put your personal message, or you could add a little note or a tag to it, or whatever you want to do. You can make it into whatever you want it to be, but this is what I envisioned. So the measurements at the bottom of here that say pattern and white, that's what these are. The ones that are 5 1/4 by 4 and 5 by 3 3/4. That is this piece right here. So this is the one that we colored Olaf on. I just couldn't help myself. I needed Olaf on there. We'll flip that over. So he's not the focal point, but we want him to get some love too. So we're going to ship him like that. So now I'm going to glue this to the outside of the card. I hope that you guys who put snow in the comments are excited to be in the drawing to win this. You like it? Yay! I love it too. I'm going to be making a bunch of these cards. I went on the hunt because I wanted to do a little drawing for the cards that I create for you guys for the month of December, because it is Christmas and, you know, it's nice to get a little special something. But I want them to all be unique. So I wanted to give you guys something you hadn't seen before. So if you don't watch frequently, you should watch in December, because we'll definitely be having some new stuff. So I'll be able to put return address, their address, and everything right on here. If I don't want to, I can put a little sticker on the bag and just do it that way. But here it is marked with, and you could do it standing up, but I thought shipping it would be easier like this. But what's going to happen is, being in a clear envelope, they're going to see this side of it too. So it's going to show off the coloring on the way to its destination. Now, I will probably not write on the card since I'm shipping it to one of you guys, and I want you to be able to do whatever you want. With the card, you can use it for Christmas. You can keep it for yourself. You can do whatever you want. Give it to a friend. Save it in your craft room. You know, whatever it is you want.
Share list.
When is the new release? Saturday. The new release is Saturday. It is coming fast. So I have some of these little gems right here that do a little sparkle thingy. And they're not really gems, they're flat. They're from Crazy Creations. And I thought I could use them to put on the card, especially up here by Ice Kissed. And it won't add any dimension. So I held these out so I could use them. They are from Crazy Creations. You can buy them in any color. They have a multitude of colors. I have several right here. Silver, gold. I have red laying here. I've been working on my Crazy Creation stuff, so I have a bunch of this stuff out. But, yes, the release is Saturday. Probably do a video on maybe on Friday night. I don't know. We'll let you know later in the week how that's going. But FYI, I will be on Craft Roulette on the 12th of December. So that's Friday night on the 12th. So if you like to watch Craft Roulette, or if you've never watched it and you want to try it out, then you should watch on the 12th. I'm going to add a couple more down here. I like all the blingy bling. 2 and 3. I love this card. I love this shape. I think it's easy. I think you guys could do it easily as well. So I hope that you'll try it. It is a surprise for the person who gets it. You have to fold it back and forth a little bit, but it does stand up. So they could stand it up, or they could lean it up against something so it doesn't fall over, or it looks like this. So it's decorated even all the way down here. We did that. It's decorated on the top shelf. And there you go. That is Elsa and all her beautifulness. So I will be adding my affiliate link to this. If you're at all interested, you can totally buy it. I don't have an affiliate link for the ton, but I will definitely add this to the YouTube with a link if you want to, if you're looking for that. But that is the card for tonight. So last chance, if you have not commented snow, you will not be in the drawing. So make sure you have before I end the live. But you like it? So did you guys enjoy this? Do you like the card? Do you like the new shapes? Are you happy? Will you watch on Thursday and all of December? Will you come back and watch some more? I'm so excited. I already have a lineup of card shapes that I want to do. So I'm really excited. Mom, I know you could make this easily. Here's one more shot at, if you want to take a quick snap, here's one more shot of the dimensions that you need. And then all you have to do is come back to my video to watch it. So here you go. This is the paper cuts. And then this is the scoring that you need to do. And that's it. You love learning new card shapes? Me too, so I'm always on the lookout. I think this one I've done this one a couple of times many years ago, but recently I did it in a class by my friend Sandy McFarland. She teaches locally, and she did some flowers, put some flowers all on the front, and so I just want to give her a little bit of love on the idea and the card shape. But yeah, I'm on the lookout for new card shapes to help you guys with some new ideas. So I hope you enjoyed that. I wish you all luck. I will be listing the names, and Dale will be putting them in the little spinner thingy as soon as the live is over, and then I will go out and post to YouTube so you can watch the replay. But somebody will get this beauty in the mail. I will mail it tomorrow, so somebody will get this beauty. You could even set it like that if you wanted to see him. But the bags look like you can get them on Amazon. I get mine from Stampin' Up because they're just my favorite. I just like their bags. But you can get them on Amazon, but they look like this. And I don't know if you knew, but you can mail cards in these clear envelopes. You just put them in here like this, just like you do a regular card. And then what I was saying is I could seal it right here. And then I just put a sticker with the address, a sticker with my return address, and then I just put the stamp right there. And then you can mail it in the mail like this. And when they get it, like everybody, it's going through the mail, everybody can see it. It's so cute. But yes, you can mail in these envelopes. You do not have to have a regular envelope to mail it in. So just saying, there you go. I loved hanging out with you guys tonight. This was a super fun card. I can't wait till Thursday night. We'll have something new on Thursday night. And I really appreciate you guys joining me tonight. So make sure to come back on Thursday, and I will talk to you guys then. And love you guys. Thank you for joining me. Good night.